Thank you so much for joining us as author and spirit guide Heidi McBratney gives us a brief reading from her book, sharing the story of a man who dramatically changed his life and his health when he made a few simple choices to embrace brightness in his life rather than remain in the darkness.
This is a good opportunity to share one of my favorite stories about a man I had the opportunity to work with many years ago. He traveled a long distance by public transit to come and see me, since he lived in a city 2 hours away from where I was. When he arrived, he told me he was dying of kidney failure and was in dialysis, having to flush his system several times a week. He came to see me for help because he was seeking peace, knowing that it was likely that he was going to die, and he confided in me that he wanted to taste peace before he died. I suggested that we would need to meet a few times in order to accomplish a task he was requesting. You can only imagine that he had to journey all those hours to see me, but he was determined to taste and experience peace, so he agreed. Once we started speaking, it became evident to me that he had lost a sense of life, of spirit, and of soul a long time ago. He had been walking around like a dead man long before his body began to give up on him. Our task together was to bring his spirit alive once again and put him back in alignment with himself. In our second meeting, when our time was done, I gave him a task. I was aware that he had to walk back to the public transit system and that he would pass by the local school on his way. I knew that the teachers and students had been growing a butterfly garden there, and I gave him the task to allow himself to stop and notice the garden when he walked by. I did not tell him it was a butterfly garden. The next time he came to see me, I could see a marked change in him. There was a bounce in his step, and color was returning to his physical body. When he spoke, there was now a language of a man who was alive and not one who was dying. He was excited to share that indeed he did do his homework. Embracing the brightness of life. This man told me that he had looked at the garden as he passed by, and he had had an awakening. He realized in that moment that he had never paid attention to life because he was always rushing through, trying to get somewhere else, and many times he didn't even really know where that was. He explained when he stopped by the garden, he saw butterflies, so many of them. As he was noticing this, the children came outside on the recess, and he observed how the children watched the plants and the butterflies with such excitement and pure joy. He went on to share that this changed his whole perception of life. He realized that he had been walking through life unaware of his surroundings, as though he was already dead. He had never noticed the beauty or the simplicity of life. He said from that point of realization, it was as though he had a new set of eyes. Since then, he saw everything differently. He could see that everything was alive and it was interweaving and supporting each other. He made a decision that he was going to live this way even though he may die very soon. He was going to live the rest of his limited days participating in the interweaving of life. He had found his peace and now felt fully alive, keenly aware and interested in the simplicity of life, its inherent beauty, and the existence of everyday miracles. He had no idea the impact this new perception would have on him, but he became more alive and more vital than he had ever been before in his life. He shared with me that he wanted to participate in one of his joys, which was soccer. So he decided to volunteer what little time he had to support children who were learning to play soccer. He was busy enjoying life again when shortly after this, an unexpected turn of events happened. He knew his name had been on the donor list for a new kidney, but that he was a long way down on that list, and yet he suddenly received a call saying it was his turn to be an organ recipient. Expanding your own perspective. It is now many years later, and the last I was aware, this man still volunteers his time coaching children in soccer. He fully participates in life, having found the peace he sought. He is now creating life and peace, not only for himself, but causing a ripple effect of the same for others. All of this occurred when he took a few moments to notice butterflies in a garden. What we have learned here is a story of leaving the neighborhood of the limbic brain, where one is consumed only with survival, and using new perceptions to move into a new neighborhood, where one can be fully alive and present in each moment. In essence, this man moved into the neighborhood of life, and his brain followed along to the neocortex and the prefrontal lobes, creating a new neural pathways toward a much brighter life.
If you would like to learn more practical ways to strive towards inner peace and improve your own well-being, please visit HeidiMcBratney.com or visit Amazon, where you can order her published book or audiobook, Answering the Call of Your Spirit. Enjoy the excitement as you begin to wake up and remember the light of your soul. Munai.